It's Thursday night. All ye critters, come join us. It's time to continue our flight. There is magic and mystery from darkness. Our friendship will rise. But one thing's for sure, we never give up on the fight. Oh, get ready. It's Thursday night.
Last we left off, our band of heroes had been pursuing a few variable threads. You had come to Esteros with information about this strange entity, the Nightmare King that you had encountered, who seemed to be responsible for a lot of the chaos bursting across the city of Drusar that you have been either hearing of or present for. They also mentioned that they were under the employ of some individual named Armand. Esteros said that this sounds like Armand Tresci, a name familiar to you in some of these other investigations. You also found the individual that Chetney was looking for, Gurge, who gave you some information about where to find out the whereabouts of this troop of Hemocraft-based warriors that had essentially found ways to keep their beast at bay, may be able to teach you. Now, with this you're able to also speak at Esteros's introduction to Oshad the Anger, Brescio, and the family of which he was protecting when two of the family members were killed recently by a very familiar assassination attack. Gathering a bit of information in a direction into the Heartmoor to find more information, you also finally had a path into the conservatory that you've been waiting for since your arrival in Drusar. Late into the evening, you all went up and waited patiently as Imogen went through the library to seek any information that might help unveil answers about her strange reoccurring nightmares and her odd abilities. And you found something at least. Possible rumors and theories about seemingly historical recurrences of similar visions and dreams by others. And a name, a familiar one, that of your mother, Liliana Tumult, before the remainder of this one report was seen torn and missing. And that's where we left off. So, Imogen, if you stand there pouring down upon at least the bulk of this report tome that you were able to locate, the rest of it missing, the possible ramifications of this information washing over you, what do you do?
The page or the student that's helping me.
Mm-hmm. The scribe, yeah.
The scribe. Can I ask him, how could pages be torn out of this? I thought these books were protected.
Takes it. This is very unusual and great shame. I apologize. It is not often that individuals that use our space vandalize any of the pieces here.
Maybe find out who had them last.
That would be the first order of our investigation.
I would very much be interested in knowing that.
I'll go look into it. A short time later, the scribe returns, looking over a small, looks like a leather-bound notation book, kind of goes through. Oh, oh dear. The last individuals to have checked this book out were the late Lumis twins.
The who, the what?
The Lumis twins.
Oh, shit.
I apologize. I wish I could be of more help, but...
Thank you very much. I'm sure I'll be around more.
I'll escort you off.
Thank you.
The rest of you have been spending your time however you can, whether it be by napping on the exterior steps of the conservatory or talking amongst yourselves. Eventually you hear the familiar footfalls of Imogen across the stone floors, exiting the front chamber doors of the conservatory.
How'd you do in there?
Yeah, what was it like?
Did you book?
I found a book about dreams and powers, and it was written by a professor who doesn't work here. I need to find out. But they did a study, and my mother was part of it.
What?
I don't know. It got to the, oh God, there was so much. I'm so sorry, it's so late, you guys. It got to the part that was just really getting interesting. I have no idea why she was part of it. And then the pages were ripped out, and apparently the pages were ripped out by the Lumis twins.
The twins?
The twins! How are they wrapped up in all this?
Wait, the Lumis twins were...
The ones who died.
Yes, but they were interested in dreams?
They were interested in...
The stars, planetary bodies, celestial bodies.
And that's what the book was also about.
Oh, okay.
When you say your mother was a part of the study, was she a researcher or an actual person in the study?
I think she was someone in the study. I don't know.
Could you ask her?
I don't... She's gone, Fern. I don't know her.
Did your father ever
Talk
about this?
Never.
Or
Anytime I try to bring her up, it was like he just turned off. Part of me thinks that's one of the reasons he stopped, coming around me.
And do you think that she was here, or that the book just made its way here?
I think the book made its way here. They don't... This professor, this person that wrote the book, they're not here. So...
Maybe the university knows where this professor is.
Imogen, you do recall that in the paper, it did note that Professor Kadir Samal was based out of the Idinlin Seminary in the city of Eos,
Oh, right.
the capital of Aeshanadal, which is far to the southeast of here.
Okay.
A friend of Brashad's, Estani,
Yeah.
was also from Eos, and it said we could talk to them about the attack.
We could maybe double back to the Lumas house, and if that doesn't turn anything up, there is the Hartmore Hamlet.
I mean, we need to go there anyway. It's certainly
I do.
a good lead.
And that was where the Lumis twins were studying.
And that's
Where
where
those
his
fucking
patron
pages.
was sending us too. So it all kind of lines up.
That's wild.
Yeah.
But that's a far journey, right? And we have
It's a few days.
we have a ball to attend.
Yeah. We can go after the ball.
It's late now.
Yeah, we
isn't
should
it?
go sleep.
It's probably somewhere close to 1 in the morning.
Jeez.
Yeah, sleep.
So you all get your long rest for the night,
Okay.
preparing for the following morning. Now counting from where Estros had told you, you're about 4 days from the ball.
Okay.
You all managed to meet up once again. Breakfast is had. The date is yours. What would you like to do?
Does anyone have anything to do besides kill time before this due?
There's some items that I could use, or some upgrades that I could use to perform different newer tasks.
Oh.
I'd like to go shopping as well.
There's a dress code, too. How do we... Maybe you know.
Dress code. Not so much you have to dress a certain way, but you want to present a certain air. Upscale, I would say. Everyone looks nice. I think you all look nice. You
Can
look
we
But
very
if we're
nice.
going to a ball, we need nice clothes.
Correct. That is correct.
I'm not wearing
Yes.
clothes.
As you were traversing through the Lucian Spire, in that brief spin that you guys were doing recently, you recall a location referred to as the Golden Veil. It looked like a high-end clothing and attire boutique.
It's worth a pop in.
Sure.
Let's go.
Mr. Pockapee, I briefly spent time as a turtle. It felt really cool. But also it felt weird because I had feet. And it was really interesting to sort of propel myself around that way. I was wondering, maybe, I don't know how, I don't want to stick out. So I was thinking if we were to get some garments, maybe I could get pants. Could you make wooden feet for me that could sort of go on the bottom of the pants so it
Just
looks like I
hang
have
out
legs?
on either side of your wheel.
Yeah. There would be a wheel in the middle, and then like two legs
legs
on the side.
No,
Maybe they
this-
wouldn't notice the wheel if they saw some like.
This sparks
one of those
brilliance.
little-
Yeah, if you put a little spike
Smoke?
on either side, smoke, then they
Yeah.
would like.
I can make these happen.
And you make them look like they're
Little wooden, like a walking duck toy.
You got it. Okay.
Silver. Fuck.
Heading back into the Lucent Spire, do you see the locale that is the Golden Veil, a beautiful 2-story boutique that seems to hold an intricate architectural design. It seems to evoke almost like the building itself is an outfit. Upon entering, you can see all manner of dress forms, holding all beautiful designs of fantastic silk dresses and wraps and scarves. You can see there's a whole section for hats. And a voice from behind goes, "I'm sorry, can I help all of you?" You glance and you can see a small gnomish woman with a grand smile across her face. Might I ask what you're all looking for, perhaps? Hello.
Hi, my name is Dorian. What's your name?
Dorian, I am seamstress Quartel. This is my establishment, and you are coming at a very busy time. There is an event coming soon that is keeping us front to back, but there might be room. What is it you seek?
We're new here to town and have recently been asked to attend and therefore need
Clothing. We need clothing. We all need
We
clothing.
need an array
for
of
the
clothing.
event. Yes.
Hi. For the person who likes to stroll around, I was thinking a pantsuit like the one that you have on.
Oh, like keen eye. I have not dressed an automaton before. Very interesting. Which one of you is the master of this entity?
They're all
No.
yeah.
Excuse me. Kind of leans in.
Yes.
Do you know if there are others seeking as such? If this is something that is going to be happening, I would like to be on the ground floor.
I'm pretty sure that's something that you should get ahead of. Yeah.
Tell you what, if you would mind spending some time here for us to get an arrangement of various measurements, as well as some sketches from some of my associates for our own...
Oh, you also have associates? What's your designation?
I'm sorry, I do not understand your compatriot.
Oh, sorry, I misunderstood. Keep going.
That is all right. You are swept up by her and her associates. That this is the oddest recreation of the Mouse and Birds dressing Cinderella. How it's just a bunch of these various seamstresses all measuring and marking and sketching you, and you're just suddenly the center of attention as all of them are talking to each other, and eventually finishes a sketch where it's handed over to Quartel, and she turns it over towards you and goes, "How about something like this?" And there are pants that are designed to, and at this point she points to a couple different options. Now, do you wish for these to drape alongside your rotating unit, or are you more interested in them just affixed to it?
Well, I sort of dreamed of having a leg look.
You done with those legs yet, old man?
I mean, the general shape is there. I'd left, room for detail.
No one cares. I'm grabbing him.
It would be great to have these on the end of my.
Interesting.
my leg
Very well.
area.
They take the next 15 minutes taking pieces of material and retrofitting this existing outfit that they have now, in a fevered pace, altered and customized to match the design that was sketched to you. These wooden feet are affixed to the bottom of this pair of pants, and it is all placed upon you. And you look unique.
I will do
Wow.
a little 360 spin.
Should we
The feet kind of just drag.
You are going to sell a lot of these.
I love it. Thank you.
Of course. Just sign here.
What is that?
This is a trade. There is no charge for this service, but the design we mark as ours.
Oh, I'd be happy to. Maybe you should sign on my behalf.
Okay.
Thank you so much.
Standard business of the Golden Veil continues from here as Quatel closes out the final elements of paperwork and gifts to each of you the outfits.
If ever any future events are to transpire and you wish to outfit yourselves with the finest available here in the Odiran Wilds and beyond, you are ever welcome at the Golden Veil.
Thank you so much
Thank
for
you
this.
so
Thank you, Fern, for talking her out of me being charged.
Well, she said that, there might be more of you, of your type coming in to shop.
More associates.
And yeah, what was that?
Well, it's just that's how I referred to Dancer. Was she was my associate.
Well, what's the designation bit?
Oh, well, that's just my purpose.
Oh, your special purpose?
Yeah, just to help, you living folk make sure that you're okay.
Is there anything you want?
Sure. Lots of things, but I want you all to get what you want first. But yeah, I want things. I need to find out who did that to my friends and figure out if I can, get them some sort of, not vengeance, but just sort of justice, I suppose. I'd like to find out what I am. That would be nice. And if there's more of me.
I wonder if I can research that in the library.
Oh, that would be amazing.
I'm gonna write it down.
Okay.
What else do we have to do?
Yeah.
Quick potion of magic run is the only thing I can think of.
Trove of Marwa or the prison emporium?
Trove it is.
All right. So, you head from the core spire. Now, not having to gondola ride to the Lantern Spire, as there is the Fate Walk bridge that leads you there, you push through the midday crowd to the exterior of the Trove of Marwa, which you've seen in the distance but haven't approached, as it looks like a building built out of a shipwreck in the middle of a city in the Odiran Wilds. You enter the interior, and while it is a beautifully intricate, almost art piece-like structure, it is a bit cramped in there. There are blue lanterns that give kind of this bluish glow to the inside, and you hear this single sound of like a music box. Ting, ting, ting. And you see there is a music box in kind of the center back of the room that's just kind of playing on its own.
Burn it down.
Tap it.
Yes! Suddenly out from behind the counter, a young human girl, beautiful dark tan skin, black hair that's kind of cut to a bob that's a bit scattered and wild. Can I help you? What are you doing? You here? What?
Well, first off, we're here to shop, and secondly, is this real or is this like just a deep commitment to a bit?
Yes. And pleasure to meet you. I'm Marwa and Dahlia.
We're on the hunt for healing potions mostly, but we're also just curious about whatever is interesting.
Let me see what I got. Hold on. I got these. I think they're healing potions. They're potions. They're not normal, like, liquid. So I assume they're Want them?
What color are they?
You look at one of them, and it has kind of like a dark, deep green coloration to it. The other is mostly translucent like water, except for it has this very, very faint bluish tint to it.
Okay.
That's wonderful.
What about the blue one? Can I smell that?
Sure, yeah, go for it. As soon as you uncork it, smoke begins to billow from the inside of it and begins to just fill the room.
Close it, close it!
Definitely a healing potion.
The entire, you try and recork it, and it's just pouring out of the bottle. It won't go back in.
I'm really sorry.
The entire room is now completely suffused with thick smoke. Okay,
I'm trying.
It's fine. Leave it. We'll put it down.
I like that last one. Is there any more liquid left in it when she got the top back in?
I don't know. I didn't. Yeah, probably. Also, got this, and she pulls off the edge of the kind of hang on a hook, this wound, very, very nice looking silk rope that has almost like a light green coloration to it. It says, this, 50 feet of rope. Pretty useful, right? Not too bad. Takes the edge of it and chucks it up, and you can see there is an opening above her where one of the ladders leads into the next floor of the ship up there, and the rope just kind of and ties itself onto the top of the ladder and ties on it.
That's
we need
clutch.
Takes itself to the very top, ties it for you. Not too bad.
I think we
Can solve so many puzzles.
Yeah.
Put in for that.
All right.
Yeah.
All right.
I'll give you 4 gold for the rest of the mezcal smoky bottle, whatever's left in there.
Kind of looking at it, you can see like where after the bottle had uncorked, it was emptied, and now you can see there's just a little bit of this kind of almost mercury-like viscous liquid that's kind of flowing inside, and you can see it slowly increasing. It's like, so looks like it'll reform in about a day.
Oh,
So this is still functional, my friend. There's an Eversmoking bottle, and that'll run you 250 gold pieces.
Whoa.
I'll take it.
How much was the little green vial?
I'm not quite sure what that one does, but I mean, it looks like it's got something magical to it. 50 gold, solid. I don't know what it does.
What do you think? 50 gold.
50 gold, done.
Put 50 gold in the card game, sure.
All right.
Well, this is quite the grab.
Thank you so much.
Of course, I'm gonna eat lunch.
I'm sobering up. We should fix that.
I eat alone. You gotta go.
Nice to meet you, Marwa.
Yeah.
You too, people. What do I call you?
Nice.
We really need to. Hell, I don't know. I don't
Yeah.
know what we should name ourselves.
You hear this?
I did.
This whistle suddenly goes off in the side of the room. You see like steam emerge from it for a second. All right, that means I gotta eat. Everybody out. Bye.
Yeah, nope, that's fine.
Have a good day. Goes and like pushes you all out close to the door. Here, it locks from behind. So, the group of you have a little under 3 days before the ball occurs. What else would you like to do? In the interim?
I think we should go. We should see if we can get back into the Lumos house and look for pages.
Do you want a small group or a big group for that?
I mean, it's really up to you to see how what you think would be appropriate.
Yeah, I think that I could probably
Mm-hmm.
navigate that introduction, I guess. Why don't we keep it small? Why don't we just I go so they don't feel like we have so many.
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay.
And I would like to go research every night if I can before the ball and just go back and
Okay. You have access.
yeah.
So I have a question. We were in that shop and, he asked, like, who are you guys? I know we talked about business prior, but, like, you don't have a moniker that you go by? Has this always been the group that you've run with, or?
It's been a work in progress.
Everybody asks.
It's bothering me too. Our last group didn't have a name. We had a group of friends that we traveled with for a bit of time before we joined ourselves.
Oh, oh, that's right. Yeah, you met.
I also was part of a group before this, and so was Ashton.
Did they have a name?
They did. It was called the Division of Public Benefit.
The DPB?
I mean, what thematically brings this group together?
Death.
Furniture.
Money, furniture.
Furniture.
Why furniture?
Furniture.
Because we've been killing a lot of furniture. I mean, the first time we met was because of the furniture, and then Bertrand pulled us in.
I almost got killed by a rug.
Furnace.
Who pulled you in?
Bertrand. I mean, that does make sense.
Oh, he was this nice old man.
I don't know that.
We wanted to pay tribute to him, and we haven't come up with something.
I mean, we wouldn't be here if it wasn't for Belle.
True.
Belle wanted us to be the sorceress swords. Belle's sorceress swords, but
It's too much.
Boy, I really
It
like
wasn't
the
that
sound of
bright.
that. It's got nice alliteration.
I don't.
You want something succinct.
Yeah,
Yeah. You're gonna investigate
we're
papers.
gonna investigate. Let's go.
Yep.
Talk to them.
I'm gonna work on my fucking mask.
Do we need anything? Your what?
Our mask. My mask.
What do you mean?
Your mask for what?
Are you going incognito?
Did no one else read the fucking...
What are you talking about?
Is it a?
Well, we bought clothes.
Oh, wait a minute. Do we need masks for the party?
Oh, shit.
We just finished shopping for like
I'm not... Yeah.
7
Oh, we have
hours.
an all-day event.
All right. So you are first looking towards the Mahan House of Lumis.
Right, we are making our way to house.
Is it just you, or
Just the two of us.
the two of you? Okay. Follow the familiar path to the exterior of the Lumis house. The guards are still placed, keeping watch in the main central garden area that leads into the courtyard before the house itself.
Excuse me.
As you walk up to the guard and they kind of take a somewhat defensive stance and you say, "Excuse me," a voice to your left goes,
Oh, welcome back.
and you glance over, and hidden just beyond the hedge that you didn't see, sitting on a small kind of dark marble bench, is Ella Lumis, the matriarch of the household.
So sorry to bother you again, ma'am. It's such an odd coincidence. I'm on a bit of a scholarly hunt, and I was working at the Starlight Conservatory. One of the books that I was researching had a couple pages missing from it. And when I asked them who the last person that had seen the book was, they said it was the twins.
We're wondering, under your discretion, of course, if there's any of their studies or notes left, if we could possibly with you take a look.
And the Dusk Maven works in mysterious ways, I suppose. You are welcome to. You're welcome to look, if you'd like.
Thank you so much.
And you would acknowledge this just because you heard it from people who live nearby. The Dusk Maven is Marquesian, in many places, the Marquesian interpretation of the Matron of Ravens.
Dusk or dusk?
Dusk Maven. And if you would like to escort, just for comfort, of course, come with, and the guards follow along, but leads you back towards the direction where you originally saw that observatory tower, and leads you into a chamber that, there is a bit pause as she opens it and kind of takes a deep breath before crossing the threshold and then kind of staying there, before she turns to both of you and says, for what you need.
That's extremely generous of you. We're very appreciative. Thank you.
We'll try not to take up too much of your time.
Are we looking for pages, yeah?
Yeah, torn edges, anything you see about celestial bodies and dreams, visions.
Torn pages is a good start.
Yeah.
You spend the better part of an hour poring through what's available, looking through whatever loose notes that can be found underneath small books, looking through books, but nothing that matches the missing pages that you had hoped to find. Unfortunately.
When they were attacked, the possessions that they had on them at the time, were they returned to you?
As far as I know, whatever they kept on their persons and traveled with were returned from the Heartmark to us. I do not know the specifics necessarily. I cannot imagine why Stani would not return anything. Stani was a family friend who was present when they were attacked. They did not return, but they were responsible for sending them back home.
All right.
Our business is most likely going to be taking us in the direction of where they were lost. If we find anything, obviously, you'll be the first to hear. Is there anything else we can do for you to repay the kindness you've shown us here today?
She reaches down and kind of pulls open the breast fold of her robe that she's wearing and pulls out a small pin that you can see was being held in there and looks at it for a second.
Show this to us, Dani. This should be enough to ensure that you are indeed a family of the house.
She hands it down to you, and kind of glancing at it, it is what looks to be the shape of an arced bow with a series of 4 pointed stars within the space where the string would be, and looks to be a crescent moon that almost matches the shape of the bow, just smaller into the back. It is a gold and silver pin.
Thank you, ma'am.
Good luck.
The matron brought us together for a reason. I do believe that.
Just hope it's for the right reason. For she is many. With that, you are escorted back out past the garden into the streets of Lucian Spire to pursue the rest of your interests. All right. What else are folks looking to do as the time clicks on, as the days progress towards the looming political event?
I got this bottle of mucus. I'd like to figure out what it is.
Oh, yeah.
Green mucus,
Green
yeah.
potion.
That's right.
Could I find an arcane shop of knowledge?
I can just tell you what it is.
Fuck.
You can identify?
Yeah.
Oh, that's some G shit.
You
yeah.
could why did I smell it?
Didn't ask.
Well, I can do it. I can do it once a day.
Oh.
Have an identify.
I have an identifier.
Wow. As long as you don't do anything dangerous, I'll take it.
Sure. I will identify that thing.
It is indeed a healing potion.
It is a healing potion.
Oh, it is?
I wasted it. I mean, it's a healing potion.
But it's green.
I hope it serves you well. Well, maybe it's like
Not ripe yet.
Is it special? Is something weird about
it's
it?
a
You don't
sour
know.
one.
It also makes you resistant to poison for an hour.
Oh, yeah,
Extra
baby.
special.
Better.
And that's very handy, FCG.
You're welcome anytime.
I mean, I
Once a
told
day.
you that it was a healing potion, so.
You did.
You
Just by
suggested I start
smelling it.
working with clay.
Speaking of clay,
I'll steal it again later.
I don't know how it works,
Once I get
but
it.
I'm gonna. I don't need. Do I know what a ziggurat is? I need a clay model of a ziggurat, and I've got some clay.
But you can attempt to
Stamp
sculpt your
from
own ziggurat if you'd like.
I will try.
Okay, if you could roll
Piss
either
clay.
a dexterity or intelligence check for me, please.
I'm gonna do dexterity plus 0. Guidance. It's a 5. Oh boy.
It will function for any sort of spell usage you need that requires a ziggurat of a clay sculpture. But it definitely looks a lot more phallic than you intended.
What is,
Why a ziggurat? Ziggurat?
Because I don't know. I just had this feeling deep inside me. Maybe it was something that was sort of maybe Dancer sort of.
Programmed it in you?
Yeah.
What?
I don't know. I get a sense. I get a sense that I need it. Yeah, I got a sense that I need it.
Can you remember what your associates' names were?
Dancer was, my maker. He's great. We also rolled with Terowin. They were really cool with like earth magic and stuff.
Cool.
Ozine was she was an awesome Haya type fighter, and also really great with like water and stuff. And then Axer was
Use an axe.
he used an axe. Yeah,
Oh,
he's
wow.
a big surly type. Had flies buzzing around his head.
Oh, wow.
Awesome.
Yeah. Earlier, Orem, you asked me, what I wanted, and I would very much like to find some sort of justice for them. And I didn't tell you before, but I think I remember seeing the thing that did it to them, and I don't remember much because I was sort of coming out of a stasis, but I did see that the creature had one eye.
On the side or in the center?
One eye. Oh, I mean, I don't.
Is that just too much?
It's just a blur.
Okay.
You know what? I
Don't
wonder
know
if
if
we
the
can
one
do
was-
like a thing.
What's
Yeah.
that?
Just open yourself up to it, all right? Don't try to fight me on this.
I won't.
All right, I'm gonna put my both hands on the side of his face.
Yeah.
I want you to think. If this isn't too traumatizing for you, if this is too hard, you don't have to do it.
No, it's fine.
Think about the moment.
Okay. It was early morning when I woke up, or was roused, I suppose, because I don't think my stasis was over yet. But I sort of came to, and I saw a lot of blood and some of my friends falling, and I saw Dancer, her last few breaths, and she sort of looked at the creature that was, upon her, I guess, and then it turned at me suddenly, and I just remember being so scared, and it looked at me with that one eye, and then it was just gone.
While he's telling this whole story, I'm gonna try to dive deeper and deeper into his brain and see if I can pick up any visual cues to maybe see it more clearly than what he can remember.
Okay. Focusing on the vision that's present, the words that are spoken are clearer than the image you get. There is, I want to say a boundary of emotion, but there is definitely a type of trauma or scar within this somewhat humanoid but also alien mind that, while he is able to acknowledge these experiences verbally, it's like the memory's not letting you in.
Does it feel different than other people that I try to detect thoughts on?
Only in the sense that FCG is not a typical human. It's the blockade isn't like a second force trying to push you out, but anybody who has undergone some sort of a trauma that they're not quite ready to face, there is an instinctual protective resistance to it. And it's more akin to that.
Okay.
Did you get anything?
No. Mostly just what you were saying.
You didn't see the creature?
Did I see the creature?
Weirdly, no. It was just flashes of like spikes of memory. You remember campfire. You remember elements of jungle. You remember sudden movement. You remember screams. You remember the sense of fear, the shaking, the helplessness within fresh cut grass and in the aftermath. Like somebody who woke from a dream but was too groggy to stop something that was already in motion. Sam.
No.
You take 2 points.
What did I do?
You didn't do anything. What else would you like? So you're going to go ahead and do further research?
I was going to do more research if I could.
Okay, what specifically are you looking into?
I am looking into... What do you want me to look into?
Well, only after you've done sufficient research on whatever you're looking for yourself.
Mm-hmm.
But, if you just happen to stumble upon anything about the Briarwoods, what they were up to, having a dead woman in your head a year after she dies, how to get rid of said dead woman in your head. If I get rid of said dead woman, am I going to lose all my powers? All those things.
All right.
Could be good.
So the stuff we talked about.
Yeah,
All right. And FCG, do you want to try to come in with me? I could say you're like my assistant.
If you'll have me, yeah.
All right.
So you go and head to the library.
I want to find out information about the Briarwoods in Whitestone. Any information I can find out about them.
All right.
You find historical records, which are, available. They speak of Silas and Delilah Briarwood, two nobles within the realm of Wildmount that were, some accounts say exiled, others say that they were hunted beyond its borders.
Angry. I just stabbed my
I can tell. but then were known to abscond to Taldore, where they raised a bloody incursion in the city of Whitestone, wiping out the majority of the Deiro family and then taking over. There they held, in secret, power in court over the township for the period of about 5 years before they were ousted and thought to be destroyed by the heroes known as Vox Machina. And you find footnotes that apparently speak of involvement, like post-mortem involvement during the incursion of the Whispered One.
Oh, God. Also information about, like, suddenly getting power. This is so similar to what I was researching before, but getting power being related to an external magic source.
You find a plethora of books and tomes and historical accounts speaking on people who spontaneously began to develop magical powers. There are some that speak of blood magic and lineages that carry contact with magical beings, whether it be fae, dragons, and other jinn and elementals that in the past history there was whether a magical imbuement or an actual crossing of bloodlines, in which case people who were born in later generations began to just suddenly evoke powers and abilities. There are some that speak of individuals who were experimented upon, that were cursed or corrupted by whether it be natural situations or dark mages who intended to try and create and essentially like force magical beings and those capable of bending the elements to their will. Those speak of failures and eventual, like, essentially degeneration of these individuals, and were considered both unethical, illegal, and practices that are, essentially hunted down to prevent from happening again. There are tales of gods gifting champions and chosen ones who work and walk within a path of fate that marks their interests, that will grant boons, but those usually come in the classically and written as a series of visions from the entity, and there is a divine nature to these gifts. It's overwhelming the amount of historical and theoretical writings that conjecture on the multitudes of sources of spontaneous power.
Anything about severing that tie? Do you lose the powers given to you?
There are some that speak on the source of patrons. They can pick up entities that are more powerful that aren't divine, that can grant it as an exchange. But then those also are contracts that can be breached and that tie is severed.
I'm also looking for Laudna, to be able to sever that Delilah connection. If she did that, any evidence that if she severed that connection with Delilah, she would lose that.
Most conversations and write-ups regarding patron-based relationships where it is a gift granted by a contract with a more powerful entity or being, say that when that contract is broken outside of some sort of majestic fey double cross written in print type gotcha moment, those gifts do recede with the arrangement. There are exceptions, but they're rare, and they usually fall into the realm of folklore or fairy tales that are told to the ages of a mortal outsmarting an immortal. And those are rare or, honestly, probably fiction in a lot of cases.
Mm-hmm.
The rest of you, what else would you like to do?
One of these nights before the ball, at night, in bed, in the sort of Wonka-esque pile that Dorian, Orem, and Fern sleep in one bed together, Orem just kind of shifts and says, Fern, are you awake? Wake up. Dorian.
I'm in the middle, I can hear you.
Okay, good. I wanna have
You
a powwow, a chat. Yeah, well, no, yeah, I'm good. Tired too. That Ira character knew your last name.
we're we're basically royalty there.
Do you, I guess you would have told us already, do you have any kind of insight into what that Ira would want? Here? Do Fae cross over a lot? You did.
I don't know. I imagine that they do. But I don't know what... I don't know what he wants. I mean, I just figured that maybe he just knew me because of where we're both from. But, I mean... He could know my parents, he could know my grandmother, he could know anyone else in my family. But I don't know, I don't know his goals.
Last question. How worried do you think we should be about it?
That's a great question. Because it's non-specific.
I mean, my gut reaction is to not be worried at all.
It's 1 o'clock in the morning. What
Walls
are
are
you
thin,
talking
y'all.
about?
All right.
Okay, good night. I love you guys.
Love.
Laudna.
Oh God!
You watch.
Oh God!
You wake up as Imogen is shifting in her sleep.
Oh.
You.
I wake up first.
Yeah, you wake up first and see
All right.
her shifting.
I am not going to wake her up. I'm going to just immediately I'm going to start scribbling anything she says, though. Keep going.
Okay. And the storm returns. You hear the crack of earth and land pull apart in the distance as trees vanish beyond the horizon. The green, now brown and red fields falling away. You pull at the door on the house and it is locked, it is shut. That familiar sense of nowhere to go. Your hair is tossed painfully across your face. Your eyes burn from the impact of dust and rock and shards of glass and sand. You hear your mother's voice once again. Imogen. Run. Run far. You glance back in the storm. You see the shadow of 2 people holding hands. Young. You can't make out their distinct shapes. But they just stand there. Their silhouettes consumed by the storm as they vanish to the chaotic mass.
Are they the twins?
Is what you hear from her voice.
I just write down twins.
And I take off running as fast as I can.
You abandon the house and run into the fields beyond and run as hard as you can. Horses fleeing in the distance. You see trees falling. You hear and feel the ground shudder and break beneath you, but you run as hard as you can. Her voice still echoing in your ears, fading as the sound gets louder and louder and louder and louder. You wake up.
Imogen.
Just grab her by the hand. I'm so sorry. I didn't want to wake you up because I wanted to. Maybe there are answers. I go and I get her a glass of water.
I saw somebody again.
You said twins. You said twins out loud. Did you see the Lumis twins?
I don't know. I don't know. I saw two figures standing next to each other. My mom's telling me to stay away from it.
She was talking to you.
Just run.
Run.
Always. It had to be them. It had to be them.
Your mother. Perhaps trying to find more information on her may answer some questions.
Yeah. Who would know anything about her?
Your father.
He's so far away.
Seems like a lot of things are right now. Doesn't mean we shouldn't pursue it.
Yeah. Yeah. I found out the Briarwoods are from Wildmount.
Really? Interesting.
I don't know if that has anything to do with anything, but
When you were talking about, from your research, different how powers come to be, bloodline being one of them.
yeah.
I don't know. Seems like we should just keep going back in time.
Start from the beginning.
We're gonna figure this out. Promise. Or at least I try.
I'm so glad I found you.
Me too. I don't know what I would do without you.
I don't know what I'd do without you.
These witches be bitches.
All right. Who else has anything they wish to situate, set up, prepare?
I am creating a giant fucking craft project at my place. Anyone who wants to come work on their fucking mask, we got everything. I'm gonna try and enlist Milo in this shit. There's gonna be a little cash thrown down. I'm inspired.
Fucking weird.
I'm joining this.
Yes,
figured you would.
same.
I'm gonna make a quick
Crafting.
restaurant, and then I'm gonna join.
Does
this.
anyone get any of those crystals from the basement?
No, it exploded.
We didn't grab anything on the way out? Fuck. That's okay. All right.
All right.
I'm going to run back to Marwa's.
Yep. All right. You come back to Marwa. And Marwa, at this point, you can see has a plate out with all sorts of like dried cheeses that she's snacking on.
I get a little too close. What you working on?
Stuff. Unfazed.
Killer.
What you looking for?
I brought you a croissant. He's got blueberries.
And she just keeps working.
It's a friend croissant. Okay. Did you find that thing?
Yeah, I did. Just give me a minute.
Ting, ting. Fudge-a-sickle. Okay. I'm gonna take a break. And just kind of like shoves it all to the side. You hear it scattering and falling to the ground. Yeah, I found it. You want it?
How much?
That'd be 350 gold pieces.
You said it was less yesterday.
I did not. Shakes it. It's got blood in there. You like blood, creepy girl. Woo! Oh, mystical blood pouch. You want it?
How about this? 300, and I'll take whatever trash you have.
And just kind of like scoops a bunch of odd shit into a small pouch.
Thank you.
Okay.
Patriots.
Have a good day, creepy girl. Bye.
Bye. And I go back.
What you have found is a Bloodwell vial +1.
Well, vial +1.
What does that mean?
What does that mean?
You can utilize it as a spellcasting focus,
All
if
right.
you'd like. So it can take the place of any material components that don't have a monetary value.
Cool.
And it adds a +1 bonus to your spell attack rolls and your saving throw DCs for your sorcerer spells. So, you all spend a craft day making masks. What do you make?
Well, actually, I don't make any masks. You just see me in a pile of wood chips. Shavings everywhere, working vigorously. And I say, finally, I'm done. You see, custom orders, they get priority. I want to thank you for guiding me through that whole wardrobe process. That was a nightmare. I don't know how you do it. Anyway, as requested, here's your airship.
Oh my god!
All wood. No outside materials. Made by hand. Just for you.
It's amazing. It's so light. What is this, balsam?
What? That's
Just leave a little mystery in there.
Oh.
The SS Bronte.
The SS Bronte. You've even carved it in the side.
It's right there.
This is, without a doubt, one of the top 5 gifts I've ever gotten. It's fantastic.
That sounds like a disappointing life, but okay.
Wow.
Now that that's out of the way, I will start
I'm the son of God.
carving a very delicate wood wolf mask that will go just over my eye.
Okay, cool. Dorian, what do you craft for your mask?
Mine is made out of fabric, and I've muddled a sticky paste together and molded the fabric and hardened it to make it look like it's fabric blowing in the wind.
I love it. Laudna, what'd you make?
I make a fox-like mask that kind of matches my fucked up fox's face on my dress.
Great. Awesome.
I'll Clark Kent it. I'll just have like some big glasses.
Okay. Great. No one will notice. Perfect. Fern.
I'm gonna make something that is kind of looks like a craft piece that like a 5-year-old would make for Thanksgiving or at church, where it's like you see the white glue, you see the feathers are all askew. It doesn't look great.
Nice.
Perfect. Imogen.
I'm going to use leather and just kind of make a nice little eye one out of like a cream colored leather. And if I can find some beads, I would love to create a little extra piece that comes around the head and comes down over the hair as well.
Oh, cool.
We got beads.
I go sit down by Chetney, and I grab one of his discarded chunks of wood from what he was making, and I set it down. And I go into my bag, and I take out my simple set of carpentry tools. And I start to carve a little wooden mask.
Oh my God.
With, it's nothing. It's super elaborate, but it's okay. And it's got like a cherry blossom design to it, both the shape of it and then etched into the surface of it as well.
I just start singing, "You've got the touch. You've got the power."
I'm no artist, but my mom taught me a couple of things.
I have a whole new level of respect for you. We have to talk. I have so much I can share. I'm an open book.
I will read that book.
By the way, Ashton, what have you made?
I should, if I did it right, look like the Nightmare King.
Please.
Where are you going?
You go to Estra.
Okay. We'll say in prep for this, you go ahead and meet back up in the Estras Manor. So, you return to Estras's Manor, and you're brought into his den, where you first locked weapons with him to prove yourself worthy under the guise and tutelage of Bertrand Bell. He beckons you all to sit. He goes, "I have been able to acquire invitations for your troop as 2 separate groups.
Okay.
An accompaniment of mine and an accompaniment of an individual of our creation. We have to construct a noble persona from beyond Marquet, and I will submit the necessary paperwork to ensure they know what to expect. So one of you will have to masquerade as this guest of the event.
Dorian?
Dorian.
Dorian.
Makes the most sense, doesn't it?
As long as you're wearing a mask. Just because.
The bounty on your brother.
We're all wearing masks.
All right.
Think on what sort of persona you would want to present us. Let's go over a few notes here. Some elements of what to expect and what the intent is of this, our arrival. Now, the Chande Quorum is a council of 8 allied anonymous leaders within Mahan houses and guilds throughout the wilds. Now, this union of faceless oligarchs works through a 9th public-facing pseudo-member chosen by the Quorum who speaks their will in public forums and events such as this, known as the face of the Quorum. For nearly a decade, this face has been an individual known as Gavis Aranda. They are a member of the Beautification Guild of Drusar, keeping the city presentable. Now, discovering who is one of the anonymous members of the Quorum is a powerful boon in these political spaces, as it allows alliances, lobbying, and business propositions in favor of one's own house and guild, while maintaining a plausible deniability. Now, I have personal interest to upset this balance and perhaps expose or discover who is part of this Quorum. So, 1. I have interest in perhaps learning anyone who reveals themselves as a possible member. Now, us together. We have mentioned a deep mistrust and a series of dark connections to House Treshy. Yes. House Treshy's alliances within the upper circles of society, and perhaps confirmation of a member of the Quorum amongst them. I have a long-term reason to believe that Armand Treshy himself might be a member. And I'd be curious to suss out these connections to this Nightmare King you mention. That in itself may be enough to begin to unravel his carefully plotted place and position of power. As part of this, if not at this event, thereafter, I propose we plant something on him. Something that can be traced and followed. In particular,
And you watch as he leans back, his orcish face pulling out of the immediate lantern light and kind of stepping into the shadow with an ominous look as he pushes forward the small case and lifts it. And there you see presented on this bed of red velvet a silver circle, a loop, a ring.
This is a replica ring of Armand Treshy, the one he keeps on his left thumb. He is always seen with it. This platinum band, he is never seen without this jewelry. But this one has been enchanted and is capable of magical tracing by us.
This is so cool.
The challenge is for one of you, or all of you somehow, to manage to slip the ring from his hand during this event and replace it with this.
Oh, God.
The old switcheroo.
Lodging is provided to all guests within the chambers as a courtesy to avoid inebriated figures of interest and political power wandering the streets at night.
I have a serious question. Would we be searched for weapons? Like, when we get patted down, or...
Most events like this, overt weaponry is to be checked in, so whatever you can confidently hide, do so.
Well,
How are you feeling, Dorian? You look very overwhelmed.
Scary. It's a big performance.
But but this is what you do.
It is.
You're good at this.
It is, but this feels more important than that. I'll go as myself. My real self.
I think that's wise.
I do too.
Wow. All right. If we succeed in this, can you ensure my protection? My family's protection? If I put our family name on the line?
He leans forward under the lantern light, his square, strong jaw clenching as he adjusts the spectacles at the end of his nose, his strong, orcish warrior presence, kind of almost oppressive in size and demeanor.
I will do everything in my power. Very well. And it is, and he asks you to spell out the name properly to him.
All right. And I'll, instead of, I start to awkwardly spell it, and I'll just write it down on a piece of paper. Second son, just like it sounds, but it's S-U-N instead. And I pass it off to him.
And this is, of which nobility?
Nobility's a broad term.
Location. Homestead.
The Silken Squall.
The Silken Squall. You are of the Silken Squall.
Correct.
Won't have to press as hard as we assumed. Rest. Prepare. Decide who is to travel with who, and tomorrow we go to a ball.
So, the night is yours to rest.
We should just figure out who's in which group.
Yeah.
I'll be with Dorian.
Sounds like Ashton is as well, right?
I do think that whoever is going to be in your group, I do feel like Imogen should be with you so she can listen in.
So Team Dorian is going to be Dorian, Orem, Imogen, and Fern.
Okay.
Team Esteros is going to be Ashton, FCG, Laudna, and Chetney. Was that so?
That's like the enforcer team right there.
Should we have a group name for this?
Are we going to be announced as ourselves, though?
No. In two groups?
Two names then. Let's come up with two instead of one. Much easier.
Focus groups?
Raise as hell.
Raise as hell.
Bell's hells.
Bell's Hells.
Bell's Hells is
It's pretty good.
damn good.
All right.
It's pretty good.
You rest for the night, and the next day finish your final preparations before you reconvene at the abode of Lord Esteros to get dressed, made up, masks at the ready, approvals confirmed for your troops' arrival, until slowly you hear the sounds of silgoats gathering
Oh,
on
God.
the exterior.
happening.
Just as the
It's
sun
happening.
begins to slowly lower in the skies, the oranges and purples begin to brighten, leading into the later ports of the day, into the night. The carriages await you outside. Your carriages are arranged, your troops divided, and as the doors are closed by the assistants, begins riding up around the spiral streets of the core spire towards the top. Numerous other carriages before you, both pulled by beast or arcana, circle in the arrival road ahead. Individuals you see emerging from the carriages, gathering and walking towards the entrance, the incredible 20-foot gold arch that welcomes the invitees within. As you take in the sights, the brimming anxiety, the butterflies, and worry that gathers in your stomach, you can't help but smile. It's going to be an interesting night. And that's what we'll pick up next time.